From the great halls of their house, there are assembled three who hope to one day be the world's greatest driving heroes. Created from the cosmic legends of the universe comes our team captain, the Vision, Bill Fisher, and their soon-to-be Wonder Woman, Vicki Fisher, and our Captain Marvel and head flight trainee, Jennifer Scripchuk. Their mission: to fight injustice, share what is right and wrong, to get you out of your house and come out racing with them and serve all mankind. They are the Garage Heroes in Training Team.
Welcome to the Garage Heroes in Training podcast. I'm going to be the host for this episode. My name is Bill. Who else is hosting?
Vicki.
You are. My dear, your Christmas still keeps going.
Yes, it does. It does. And I have my husband to thank for that.
Yeah, whoever that guy is, he's just, I don't know what's the matter with him. But once again, your celebrations just last for months and months and months and months.
Yes, they do.
Amazing.
Guy's amazing.
I've got words for it, but that's not it. Anyway, we have just traveled down to the wonderful state of South Carolina, and luckily nothing happened on the trip.
No, nothing has happened, which is great.
That was supposed to be a setup for a totally different topic, but luckily nothing happened on the trip.
Nothing did happen on the trip.
All right. We're going to do this a third time. Nothing happened on the trip like last night.
Oh, we went and saw our very good friend, Ben Dawson.
He doesn't exist.
No, I really thought he was 4 feet. He's much taller than I thought he was.
Well, he only looks like he's 2 or 3 inches in a Zoom meeting, so.
That's right. It's true. It is true. No, I was so happy to see him. It just the warmest welcome, as Ben is just a very warm guy anyway. So I was just so tickled to see him.
You have no data to support that you ever saw him.
No, I do. I have a picture of it. It's posted. It is posted.
It is posted. Anyway, it was kind of on the way. So we decided to take advantage of it and said, hey, what do you think? And he's like, I've done dumber things. So we did it. So anyway, why are we down here, my dear?
We are going to attend Johan Schwartz's car clinic, which I believe is going to be on drifting.
Okay. I don't think that's the name nor what we'll be doing, but that's okay. Car control clinic.
I don't know exactly the name of it.
I know. We were supposed to watch. See, I'll give you some behind the scenes on what we were supposed to do. We were supposed to watch the preview of what exactly we're getting ourselves into. However, we can't get into the link, and we haven't gotten it, and we're going to go to bed. So we're.
Yes, this is true. So it's been a long day. We've just driven 2 days to get down here, and granted, it was a enjoyable, non-pressure, stop off and stuff. We enjoyed the southern spring, which is happening right now, since we live in the Northeast, and I'm a little worn out, so I'm just not quite as sharp as I should be right now.
Yes. So my beautiful wife / butter knife, we are going to a car control clinic with Johan Schwartz at the CMP. I know we'll be on the skid pad. No idea what else we'll be doing.
Oh, I know that there's going to be drifting involved.
There could be. Who knows?
Yes.
We will be making probably some mud with the water splashing around. We will be in one of Johan's cars because it just didn't make sense for us to tow one down.
No, it did not.
And Honda Civics, for those playing the home game, do not make good skid pads, front wheel drive and everything like that.
No, I wouldn't even know at the moment.
So the goal, let's pretend this is somebody's first podcast. The goal for this year for you is?
I am going to be improving all of my training. I'm going to level up. I kicked Bill out when we kind of had to back off of racing due to, my daughter just wasn't into it and really didn't want to travel. And of course, we didn't want to be those parents. So I kind of booted Bill out to go ahead and go race, go do what you got to do. And, I'll be home front. And this year is my year. So I'm so excited. This is the first of it. This is first of my training. My thought process, if for those of you who have been following along, is that trying to figure out what would be best in my training at this point. And I decided that if I had more skill in recovering the car and more car control itself, then I would be able to have more courage to be on the track to basically go faster, pick up speed, because I would have more confidence if something went wrong in order to catch it. So this is where I'm going to start in the first part, and then I'm going to start working on speed and data next.
So we are coming down to Carolina Motorsports Park in South Carolina. And so far the weather is
gorgeous. Everything smells so sweet down here. There is, I would say, it's probably 70s, almost 80, and the trees are blooming and starting their leaves, and they're starting to show their buds. So pretty flowers are starting to show up. I love it. I love it. It's what's to come for the Northeast.
everything I'm allergic to is now growing.
This is true. This is true. Bill is not an outdoor guy.
Just send me a picture. It's fine. It's really great to be allergic to everything that grows and not really thrilled with cold. So I really
bugs. Don't forget bugs.
Yeah, I'm allergic to mosquitoes. So anyway, it's great. So I've got to find some place where it's constantly fall. We'll see. All right. So we don't know what we're doing. We think we do, but this is the going into part A of the podcast. So going into goals for you, my dear, do you have any, or what do you think?
I'm not really sure what to expect for my goals. It's only to be a very good student and do the very best that I can.
All right. Let's assume that we have some idea what we're doing, and let's assume that we are going to go on a skid pad. I would like you to pronounce 360 degrees as a full circle. How many degrees of continuous skid will you be able to do upon the end of your 8-hour day on a skid pad with Johan guiding you? What do you think? What have you done in the past, and what do you think you can get to?
Well, in the past, on my trip to a skid pad was in a Miata Turbo. So every time that I kept trying to actually do the skid pad, the turbo would kick on and break up the syncing of, pad pedal and torque and, acceleration. So this car will definitely not have turbo. So I would like to see I would like to, at minimum, complete a circle, but I would like to see if I could do a continuous at least 2 or 3 circles.
Okay. And what was your record going into this?
0.
No, you skidded.
I have skidded, but I've never successfully skidded around a pad. I have, leaving the skid pad that I did at Lime Rock, I did for the first time understand what it felt in the seat about what a car was doing. I was able to understand the Miata when it started to skid, and leaving that skid pad, then like 2 weeks later going onto a track, I was able to start to comfortably rotate a car at its limit.
Okay. So the last time we went to a skid pad, the 2 times we went have been to Lime Rock.
Right.
They have a skid pad. They have a skid pad, and they have a small autocross course nearby.
Yes.
So I'm assuming there's a go-kart track right next to the skid pad. I know that. We may or may not use it. When you're able to we did both. I'm not sure what we're going to do tomorrow. It could be fun. We'll have much more details after we do it, because we don't know what we're doing. So my goal for tomorrow, because I get to do this as well, is I would like to do at least a complete circle, clockwise and counterclockwise.
That would be interesting. Counterclockwise would be interesting.
It's all the same.
Yeah.
It's just left and right. So goals are pretty low, because I think my record for continuous skid is a little more than half of a circle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think you're less than.
I was less than that.
So I think part of it was your throttle control. You were constantly right on the edge of the turbo being on and the turbo being off, and
Yes.
you weren't able.
Yes, that's exactly what happened.
So So she's claiming, as a good mechanic that she is no longer in training. She's claiming it was the tool, not the operator.
It was the tool.
Whatever. Anyway, good carpenter never blames his tool. And one of the times we went to the skid pad was with our friend John, who we have not seen very much, but hopefully we miss him. But we will see. This could be the most fun part of this entire trip, my dear. We're going to a driving event. How did car prep go?
We did not have to worry about it. The only thing we had to do was bring our helmets.
Because we looked at it and said we can tow 2 cars down to South Carolina, or we can use some of Johan. So we elected to go with that. So Johan, how did the car prep go? He's not here. I'm assuming it went well. We'll find out tomorrow. So plan is for this to be the intro to a podcast, and then amazingly through the magic of podcasting, we will do a post event wrap up and see how we do. And it should be fun. We are driving in. Do you know what cars?
I believe they're BMWs. I do not know the year of the BMW, but I'm quite sure that's what they are.
Okay. Well, we'll keep everybody guessing and expecting this to be pretty good. So Johan was able to do a continuous drift for more than 2 hours without any issues. Are we going to be counting yours in circles or hours?
Oh, circles for sure.
All right. Well, all right. Aim low.
True. You can only go up from here.
Okay. I'm guessing if you can't get more than half of a circle, I'm going to pick on you incessantly the entire ride home.
That's normal.
Whatever. Anyway, looks like it should be fun. Weather looks great. It may or may not rain. I've seen both, although the local weather says we should be good. We will probably send out some pictures of Vicki splashing some water, and she will not take any pictures of me because she'll be on TikTok. But it should be fun. Should be a great thing. She didn't like that TikTok. Just in case you're getting the video, which doesn't exist. So 2 BMWs tomorrow will be subjected to our driving skill, and Johan, we are but clay in your hands. So shape us into a vase or whatever. I have no idea. I'm tired.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to prep the best I can tonight mentally, I guess. Hopefully we can get through to Johan's little webinar for what we're to expect. Yeah, so it would be helpful.
Yes. So we're hoping to view that and read or watch the what to expect when you're expecting to skid. And we'll make a mess and we'll make some puddles and hopefully not dig up too much grass.
Yep, and then we're going to finish off the evening here with Top Gear.
Maybe. We don't know. It depends on what the internet connections are. We're in another hotel. So with that, end of part 1, the preview, which wasn't much of a preview because we don't know really what we're doing, but we'll be back in another minute right after this, and it will seem like nothing to you, but it will be an entire day plus to us. So thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Captain's log supplemental.
So, Bill, guess what?
What?
We did the Sentinel. We did the Sentinel.
We did.
How
did you like it?
You know what? We were talking about the Sentinel.
We have.
It was great. We understood watching how the Sentinel works, but we finally got it into our car, and I got to tell you, that was really awesome. I was able to see every one of my mistakes.
We have hours of them.
We have hours of my mistakes,
right.
But we have hours of good stuff too, which is awesome. It actually showed us the speed. Did it show us where we were on track?
We were streaming it
We were streaming it live.
Boring billions of people across the world.
But it was pretty incredible. Plus, on it, you're able to put your insignia, your logos on your app also, and the clarity was amazing. It was really easy to put in, easier than I thought it was.
I know you kept making a big deal out of it. I'm like, it's really not that hard. Until we focused on it, it wasn't too bad. And then we got some help. It was pretty easy.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty good.
You know what? I like the stream because some of the tracks we go to don't have great cell phone coverage, but it's got a USB stick backup. So I just uploaded the high quality video without the cellular interruption. So If you watched us earlier and said, wow, they got from there to there really quickly, you can watch the real video and see that no, we didn't. It's just a cell phone went out. But
Yeah. So the learning curve for me, obviously, I'm slightly techno Amish.
slightly.
What slightly when it comes to the wiring and stuff like that, but we get it in and I love it. We were able to sit there right at the track and watch what we were doing in the car. And that was amazing.
Which was good because if you have a problem with your radio, you can tell, if something is going on that you need to know about. Like a couple times we've had cars come in and we didn't know they were broken. And I know it's hard to imagine one of our cars being broken, but whatever. But you can watch the video, and even with the cell phone coverage we had at that particular event, it was like a 30-second delay. So it wasn't bad. And you can compare multiple drivers because you have each of the stints are broken up. So we got to work on not only our driving, but if we wanted to, we could work on our pit stops and see exactly what we do. And there's some things that we need to talk about as a team. And it was pretty good. Like I said, it takes me, once we got the wiring hooked up for the power, I probably could go from an empty shell to a full up setup running Sentinel. I could probably do that in like 20 minutes. So you could literally install it in a car before a race. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
And we got to see the driver and the front windshield. And if we want to, we can have three. We can see backwards. Or one of the guys we were going to work with at the upcoming event, he said, could you put a camera on the driver's eyes so we could see what they're looking at? I said, why, yes, I can. Haven't done it yet, but I'll figure it out. I've got time.
Well, I love it.
All right. Very well. That sounds like I can buy another one then. Woo! Welcome back to the Garage Heroes in Training podcast. This is part 2 of our little adventure down at CMP. Who else is here?
I'm Vicki.
Jennifer.
Jennifer's here.
Jennifer's here.
Yeah,
Jennifer's here.
Did you ever notice on the episodes that's just me? Vicky's never as excited, but that's okay.
I love when Jennifer shows
Now
up.
Vicky will be like, Bill's here.
It's like Bill's here. Anyway, need you to stop yawning and
I'm tired.
stop stretching.
So tired from our
We're going
weekend.
to talk about why you're so tired.
I know.
I'm so
That is-
excited.
Why are you so tired? So Jen, we're driving after driving the entire day. We're driving back. And my beautiful bride says, hey, do you want me to take over? Do you know how far we were from where we were stopping?
I wasn't paying attention to the map.
1.6 miles. She's willing to jump in there and finish
I was
it
not
up.
even paying attention to the
1.6
map.
miles. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was incredibly
That's
humbled by
right.
her ability to help me for the last 1.6 miles.
Mhm.
So I pulled over at the closest place, which was the hotel.
Mhm. Yeah.
And she took over from. No, she did. Anyway,
Yeah.
Miss Jen,
It
you
was
weren't
funny.
there. I was
know.
there, so we figured you would kind of orchestrate the questions because I might not ask any good ones because I kind of know the answers, and that's never good podcast hosting. So,
Mhm.
so what do you
Well-
know about what we're doing?
So I know that y'all went on a special trip to learn some special things.
Hmm.
There was a skid pad involved. So why don't we start with, why don't you tell us where you went and what you did?
Okay. Well, we went to CMP, Carolina Motorsports Park in South Carolina. This is the first time I went there. Bill has been there a couple times, I believe. But nice track. We weren't
So
on the track.
What did you specifically go for? Was it
We specifically went for a drift. It's basically a drifting class. What is the technical term for it, Bill?
Car
Skid
control
pad training?
car control clinic.
Yes.
control clinic? Oh, okay.
Yes. So, but it basically was skid pad and drifting around the skid pad. And it was, I think we had like 6 people in our group. Yeah. And it was nice. The weather was really nice. It wasn't too hot. It wasn't too cold. Beautiful mornings. We got there early.
So
And, yeah, it was lovely.
this was a gift, right, from Bill?
Yes. So this is a gift
Santa.
that
Santa. Santa gifts.
Santa. Yeah. So this was a gift I got for Christmas for training this year. I think as some of the people who've been listening to the podcast are made aware that this is my year for training, and I'm dragging Jennifer with me on some of them as soon as she is able this summer. So it's going to be girls' weekends in the cars, which are going to be awesome. And for Christmas, Santa, who wears a GHiT hat on occasion, he's
a strong fan. He subscribes to the podcast like everybody should.
Yes. It gave me a choice of a coach, a track, and a type of training that I want to do for Christmas. And after much thought, including we talked to several people and, of our friends and trying to figure out what the best fit was, basically the bang for your buck. The nagging problem that I have with my driving is...
Be careful, I'm right here.
Well, no, the company was great on this weekend, by the way. The nagging problem that I have with being courageous, on the track is, faith in the tires and getting comfortable with rotation on the car going around the track and corrective maneuvers when things go south. It's a confidence thing. And I think correcting or working on those items will give me the next step into going faster than implanting data, working literally on racecraft. But if this, when, going to the end of the track, rushing to the end of the track and thinking I might not have control of this was something that definitely needed to be addressed.
So
it took some soul searching to get there,
I probably would have chosen the same thing.
Yeah.
So let's start off with you started your weekend away when? Thursday, Friday?
We left on Wednesday. We left on Wednesday because we had a nice, relaxing travel down. We showed up for a Friday class. So, it's a big haul from the Northeast Pennsylvania area to get down to South Carolina. And, we just took a nice trip. Showed up there on Friday morning, got the chance to meet Johan Schwartz and his lovely wife, Karen.
Now, who were they?
They were the people that were in charge. Johan Schwartz is a 3-time record holder for drifting, Guinness Book of World Records for drifting in a circle. And we thought that, as a also recommendation from Ross Bentley, that this would be definitely one of the steps that would be most beneficial. But so we showed up at the skid pad. Great group of people that were there, other racers that were there, or other people with cars. I would have to say that some of the people that had cars, it looked like a lot of them were in various degrees in their HPDE learning. All right.
What cars did you guys take?
We rented.
Oh, you rented?
No, we didn't take a rental car. We rented a car from him. So we ended up driving in a new daily driver BMW. I think they brought one of their daily drivers, and they had some nice souped up tires on it, I think.
Not after you got done with them.
Not after I got done with them. We'll talk about that. But Bill and I, he brought 2 cars. One of them was a caged BMW. I think it was an E46, right? Or was it an M3?
Was it an M2?
Okay, it was an M2. And then he, like I said, he brought a daily drive. Looked like it was relatively new. Wasn't, probably 2017 to 2025, somewhere in that, or 2024, somewhere in that area. And we ended up going into that, which I found, both cars were automatics, which was kind of nice. So you didn't have to really think about, while you're in the position of drifting, you didn't really have to think about shifting.
That's interesting because I never had thought about doing that, but now that you say that, I'm interested to really pick your brain about that.
Okay. We'll
Yeah.
we'll get into that.
Yeah.
So we ended up taking their 2 cars and yeah, so we end up, starting probably about 8:30. We end up with our program. So
So Friday you started at what time?
probably about 8:30.
We got there at 7:15, and I think we were on the track by between 8 and 8:30. Yeah.
Yeah, they started their instruction at 8:10 or so.
So
And then,
can you talk about the instruction?
well, the nice thing about this now we've taken skid pads, I believe, twice. I know you did once.
Right.
Okay, this would have been our third time doing, I think, a skid pad. I don't remember the second one, because I think the second one was really kind of that uneventful.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes, I do remember because we actually had a class, a set up proper class, and I think that was with Elizabeth Jolly. And then we had one with a friend of ours, John Lavin. He took us out. He had a little car clinic. And that's when we went with Jennifer and our friend Alex Levinson.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was our first one. Then the second one, we had a car clinic. So this would have been our third. So the difference between this one was, I think this was the second one we were actually in a classroom.
First one, I think.
No, because the first one was John Lavin. The second one.
Yeah, he took us in a classroom for a short time.
Okay. All right. So the nice thing about this one was he did, in some of it, and I was trying to tell Bill, this was the main difference that I got out of it. Do you remember when we were racing with Jackie Andrews?
Yes.
Right. And do you know that how there's like almost, and I wouldn't call it gatekeeping, but there's a lot of fluff that goes into some of this training. It's either over explained or it's over, over instructed. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Jargon loses you.
Right. It's jargon heavy. It almost feels, I don't know if it's being over thorough with a little bit of ego in it. Does that make sense?
I know. I really struggled with that in the beginning. I think if you listen
Right.
to our podcast, we talk about that, like just not in the very beginning, not understanding the jargon.
Right.
Yeah.
So the nice thing about Johan's, the differences that I had between all of them is that I think the other ones, the first one, not so much, which was just us, like a bunch of friends kind of getting together and learning how to do this. Second one, there was a lot of instruction, a lot of basic, and I think a lot of discussion on like friction circle and, the proper this and the nice things about Johan Schwartz was that he really cut through all of that. Like all of the fluff, and he just got down to the very core of what you needed to know to do this. There was no, proper language. There was no, alphabet soup when it came to, explaining things to you. It was like, I'm going to take you out, and and he took each one of us out, and he explained what the car was doing. And then when he got out, he explained what you should be feeling. He did quite a bit on what you should be feeling in your car, which I think in the levels of where I was before to where I am now started to make sense. And one of those things that he kept saying was, you're going to feel the car get light. And when you feel the back end start to get light, is when you might have overdone it, I think. But there's a sensation that you get, which I translated into the pause. You remember they always would explain to us what the pause was?
Yeah.
And he actually kind of gave that a feeling and a sensation and a name, almost like a description.
Right.
which we really didn't get that. We had to kind of discover that for ourselves all before.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And the other thing that he did was he took us out, which was never done before, was proper hand positioning. How your hands should be rotating the tire, not the tire, but the wheel, and positioning. I don't think we really, if they did go into it,
I don't think we ever really.
if they did go into it, it was not done very well in depth or in the moment, so you could translate it.
Right.
And that was a key thing in our drifting that we were never really experienced.
Well, in defense, I know when we went, it was during the pandemic, and there was still a lot of caution. Even though we were doing ride-in,
Right.
it was still a little uncomfortable to have people in the car. And
no, I could get that.
Yeah.
And we also had radios in our car, so he could talk to us in the moment.
Yeah.
And he also, in this particular one, gave us the proper speed and gear that your car should be in before you start. And not, which we really didn't go over. If they did, it was something in our learning at that time, in that moment, that we didn't grasp on. Right. So, and that's what I'm saying. I think that this one was do this, then this.
Yeah.
When you do this, then this. Right. So it was very sequential, and all the fluff was out of it. All the friction circle stuff and all the, apex stuff, and, extra learning and extra words, just extra. All the extra was gone. And I think that it just got down to the meat of it, which was excellent. And I think that that's why I would totally recommend this program.
Mm.
'Cause it's just, it just made it so simple.
Did you have classroom time and drive
There was,
time?
there was no classroom time. It was just sitting in a group. But so there was basic instruction to get you started, and then the rest was really a lot of seat time with instruction through the radio. No, we didn't have to have a helmet. He had a radio in the car, and he was seeing what you were doing. And he was saying, either add more gas, or this is what happened, because he could see from where he was, this is what you did. You might have come off the gas too soon, or, you gassed and then you kind of let up too soon. So at that point, it just became a sensation to do what you needed to do. The other thing that was really great was that look as far around the circle as you can. And the other thing too was, look where you want your car to go. If you start over spinning and you look out into the field, much like we had always learned, that's where your car is going to go. So always look as far around the apex as you can, and not at your hood, not at the track, at the apex. And I was like, so these are the things that were just much like Jackie Andrews with her data and the way she was instructing you. She took the fluff. She took the jargon. This is what I see. This is what I want you to do next.
Right.
And the improvement just started quickly happening. But certainly that he was talking to the level of our group too, because there was, some better racers. And then there was some very beginner races. I think one gentleman only had his car on track 3 times.
So how many people were in your group?
There were six total drivers, 5 cars. Vicki and I shared a car.
Mm-hmm.
So it was constantly, you just keep going and going and going. So we basically, the track was, it was coated in water, so you can't say the track was hot, but the track was hot for the entire day. It was almost never a car not on there. Just one car at a time, except for one drill that we did.
Mm-hmm.
How about you?
I saw some of the videos. Pretty cool.
Yeah. What did you get out of it, Bill?
Well, I mean, I think the things that Johan did well was he, especially for you, he made it more about the feel than the think.
Mm-hmm.
But if you had a question or had anything and you needed, he would give you the depth of answer that you wanted. Or like if you asked a follow-up question, he'd get deeper. And if you asked a follow-up question, he'd get deeper. And if you asked a follow-up question, he'd get deeper. So which was helpful. And I think the one thing I did like about this one was the incremental stages that he took us through. Like the first time we went on track, we were with him and he was doing a lead follow and showing like essentially where the line is for best performance on this particular skid pad, because the water pressure wasn't tremendous, and until it started raining later in the day, it wasn't wet on the outside. So he said, try to keep your right tire about here, try to keep your left tire a little inside of there if you're going counterclockwise and vice versa. And then he showed us the two spots on the track where the slip was a little higher because it was either worn down or just smoother, don't know. And then he did the understeer drill, which is where the car starts to plow and you start to get the feel of the front of the car giving up traction. And he told you about what speed that was, which I think Vicki liked. And then the next one was short, kicking the back out for a slight drift, but not going for a drift, but just going for oversteer. So we call that the oversteer drill. I did that in both directions. Vicki did it in this consistent direction. And then the next several efforts were full drift, see what you can do, try to catch it, try to balance it, try to keep control of it, try not to kill the sprinklers, which we succeeded as a group of killing. Many sprinklers were sacrificed during this meeting. And
we did our best.
Yeah. So it was a good weekend. I had fun.
So was it the training, was it 1 day, 2 days, or?
So it was a 3-day event broken up into half days. So you could go for a morning or an afternoon or both. And you could go for 1, 2, or 3 days. So
you guys we went for
a full 1 day.
Just 1 day, just Friday all day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was about the right amount of time, I think.
Yeah, I think after that it would have been just.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I think it would have been just track time at that point.
Yeah.
Which would have been great because it would have been a location to do it, but
I don't
look
think
how
the motorcycles
tired you were.
we were pretty tired when we came back.
Just after 1 day, right?
Yeah.
Like I remember when we went to Lime Rock, I was exhausted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this was
really
like the
forgot
event. This was like the Lime Rock event for where you went, except we didn't do the autocross part. We just stayed on the skid pad.
Yeah.
Right.
So which was fun. By the way, Lime Rock got repaved, so both the autocross course and the skid pad are brand new.
Yeah, I missed like when we went to Lime Rock, it wasn't wet. They weren't able to wet the track. So
we were able to tear up some tires though.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were. We weren't the only ones though.
Nope.
Yeah.
There were quite a few there that tore up some tires.
And you know what? We did get lucky because it did rain. And
at this event.
So for us, it was just, hey, now we can have like the whole thing. But by that time we had worn off some of the tread. So it was really hard to get a grip.
So let's do this. Highlight of the weekend for you, my dear.
Well, I was going out I did end up, my highlight was that I did make it almost halfway around a track in a skid.
I think it was more. It wasn't a full loop, but it was close to 3/4.
I mean, but it wasn't like a big kick out.
No.
But I certainly was maybe between half and 3/4 of around the track of just drifting it around, which was huge. And it was nice because Johan was like, you got it. Like on, you did a good job, but it didn't have that big kick out. So that's going to be like,
that's okay.
That's practice. But, the other thing, my highlight, well, I did have to come in because I ripped the tread off the car and I had this I was going and I kept hearing this thump, 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 thump. And I'm like, all right, I had an idea on what I did because at one point I did check the car. And the thing is that we rented it, but Bill and I were taking sequential turns in it. So he we could have jumped in the other car, but we're just staying with this one newer BMW. So we were wearing the tires faster, and I just kept hearing this thump, 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 and
They weren't new for the weekend. They were
no,
carryovers from a prior event. So we
yeah.
knew they were going to go away, and Vicki just succeeded in killing
Yeah.
it.
So we actually had to pull it off, and I had pulled off early, and I'm like, there's something going on with one of the tires. So we went in there, and I had like this 2.5 foot cord that had come off the tire but was still attached, and it was just thumping on the inside of the wheel well. So, we're kind of looking at the tires going, okay. So I think we took it back
Yeah, we
to
went
the
to the
trailer,
trailer.
and we flipped them from back to front.
Mhm.
And we had to go borrow a tool because obviously there was steel in the cord, so we had to cut it and then send it back out. And then Bill had it.
So,
But at that point, we couldn't really get a whole lot of grip on the front,
well, the fronts were
with the
shot.
rain. Yeah.
So it was interesting in that there was no front grip now because Vicki had torn up the back tire
It wasn't just me.
to the point where there was nothing left for anybody else to use. It's a me.
What was
It's
your
my
highlight,
weekend.
Mr. Bill?
Go ahead, tell them what happened with you.
What's your highlight, Mr. Bill? Tell us all about it.
I don't know. Vicki's very excited about something. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to say.
You had to come in and go like, well, you popped the tire.
Oh yeah, that's not a highlight. It's just Vicki killed it, and then I put it like 6 feet under.
To
'cause
death.
it-
You put it down.
yeah, it's it
Guy's
shall-
like, Johan's like, I think you popped your tire. He goes, oh, I know I popped the tire when he's out on the radio.
yeah, I wore that puppy out. So the fun thing for me was I used to, before the event, I was better going in one direction than the other. I was better going clockwise. Let me think. Hold on.
Counterclockwise.
Counterclock. No, I
No,
was better. I was
wait,
better-
no.
I was better going clockwise
Yeah. Because
I was. And
Okay.
after this event, I'm the same clockwise or counterclockwise. It doesn't really matter. One of the unintended benefits of Vicki destroying the tire was that I now had to try 2 different levels of grip. I had gone out prior with a car that worked and had grip. And then after Vicki got done destroying the tire, I went out in a car that no longer had any front grip. So instead of what I was able to do and control, I now had to acclimate to a different level of grip. Thanks to my wife destroying the tire. And so the first time I went out with it, all I was doing was just getting front end understeer push, whatever form of jargon Vicki doesn't like me to use. And the car would just grind its way out to the outside, and the back end would never come around. And I had to think about it a little bit because I put the car back in thinking, what am I doing wrong? Because I was really good at this up until Vicki destroyed the tire. And so on my next set, I figured out what I needed to do, and then life was good. So I got to figure out another variable that I hadn't contemplated yet, because
Mhm.
the point for us, as what our team typically does, the point for us is not to become drift pros. The point for us is to become more comfortable and acclimated to having the rear end loose and being confident in controlling it and knowing what to do and what not to do in a race environment. And you're always going to have different levels of grip, different levels of speed, different levels. But we don't want to have the glory big hunkin' drift. We want to use it as needed to get around the track, to help with rotation, to not destroy our tires, because typically we're doing endurance racing. So I think unintended, Vicki's destroying of the tires was good for me because I got to try something different. And then after Vicki destroyed the tires and I've put them fully under, then Vicki got to go try another car. So she actually got to try 3 different levels of grip. And I would classify, if I was going to do a 1 to 10 scale, the first car that she had that had grip in the front, she did quite well. The second one that didn't have grip in the front, she did okay. And the third one, less than stellar, I think would be the number I choose, because I'm trying to stay out of the bathtub, because I just got back from a long track run, and I'd like to sleep in a bed at some point.
So when that was the nice thing when he flipped the tires over, because you were able to start to understand the different levels of grip, like Bill said. which was great. So as I'm going around the track,
Is this before you destroyed the tire or after you destroyed
well,
the
this is
tire?
after the tire was destroyed, because what ended up
No,
happening
no.
was that,
After you destroyed the tire.
yeah, after we destroyed the tire. So what what ended up happening was, because it was raining at the same time, granted the skid pad is not completely flat. There is some, not ripples, but high lows points in it. And it it made me seek out places of grip to start punching the car. Now, when I was doing this, I had to move the car into sport onto second gear with an automatic car. There's a manual, there's just drive, and then there is just sport. So you had to take off traction. It had paddles on it. And I moved it, you had to put it into sport because it just jumped faster. And it did, because sometimes I would try to make the car just like punch it. And when you had it in sport mode, it took off like a rocket, when the other ones really didn't in the other gears. So, but when I was going around, I really had to look for those spots that were just a little bit up out of the puddles that I could punch the tires on in order to get, or punch the acceleration in order to kind of get something. But then I was just basically plowing in the front because I had no grip in the front. So then I had to okay, well, maybe the front should be on these dry spots, a little bit drier spots in the rain, these little high points. But it made you start to focus on grip just in general,
Right.
and how to get it, on the track, which was great. And then the hand position, the whole hand positioning.
We'll do that separate.
Well, yeah, we'll do that in a bit.
What about the third type of car, the white car?
Okay, the white car was an actual caged BMW M2, and
Race car.
it was a race car, but
I think it might have been a 240. I don't think it was.
I don't know, but when I was in it, the sensations, but it wasn't about the tires. It was not about the tires. It was about the acceleration that was in it that would throw me off, because
I know.
there was a lull in it.
It's
There
a
was
turbo.
Yeah, it was a turbo. There was a lull in it. So every time I punched it, it was almost like I had to wait just for like a moment, and then it would kick off.
Mhm.
And then I could not determine at that point where the pause would be. That nice lift that you would have in order to get it. Sometimes I was doing it too much. Mostly I was doing it too much because I couldn't get a sensation or determination, because I was only in it like once.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think I only went out once in it. Yeah. And then by that point, I was tired. I was really getting tired.
What you were doing was driving.
Yeah, right. So, and that's why I really didn't pursue any more than that.
So let me ask you, you talked about the difference between manual versus automatic on the skid pad.
Mhm.
Can you touch on that a little bit more? Because I remember when I went doing, well, and it's probably because we weren't into racing for as many years as we are now, but struggling still, I get, with the shifting and all of that, and then trying to do the skid pad. Did you find that doing the skid pad with the automatic was, you were able to focus more on learning?
I was able to concentrate a little bit more. It just took away one step
Mhm.
at that moment. And the weird thing was the race car was automatic too. The white
Mhm.
car that was caged was an automatic. So, but it did at that point with this particular class and this particular learning was
Mhm.
that it took one step out, because technically you should punch your acceleration in second gear, but I was able to
Mhm.
watch it go into second gear. I didn't have to set it into second gear. I did have to set it into sport. But, I think that if you were, in your learning, I think it was just, you just leave, you put your car, drive it, get it into second, get it to about, for that particular car, it was 22 miles per hour, and then you just hit it,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
I
Yeah.
didn't like it quite as much because it could change its gear,
Hmm.
and in a standard transmission or manual transmission, I would set it in the gear I want, and I wouldn't have to worry about it. So it was one more thing for me to worry about.
Right.
So
But, I could just see and go, okay, it moved into, Sport 3 or, and then I would take it down to S2 again, Sport 2 or second gear in Sport. And then as soon as it did that, I would look at the acceleration. It was like 18, 22 miles per hour. You just kind of keep it between 20, 22 or so. And then when you did that, you just punch it. And then the nice thing about that BMW was that it was very reactive. You hit it and it just did it. There was no lull, there was no, anything. It just took off.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then the only thing I'd do is worry about the sensation part. But, I would be very interested in trying it in a stick, but it was nice because you were able just to, keep your hands on the steering wheel and, but that steering wheel was a whole other thing. I failed at steering wheel.
I failed at steering wheel.
I did. I
So
did.
tell me about steering wheel.
she's not a natural, so I'll go with that.
No, I'm not natural. Which is one of the things that they really didn't discuss in our other class. If they did, it was a very brief thing. 3 and 9 positioning, but far reaching all the way around, and how to just hand over hand, but then extreme hand over hand in those positionings in the other direction. And I was getting my thumb all wrapped around in the steering wheel, had to like spin the steering wheel with a thumb and, but it was nice because he took you out on the track and he had you 2 cars at a time, just really slow and just work on your hand positioning from one all the way to the other and one all this. So you're kind of weaving this zigzag almost around the track and practicing on your hand movements. I failed so bad at that because I'm like spinning it with my thumb and I'm like overreaching and I'm like, I need to practice. But it was nice because it did show you proper positioning to steady the wheel and keep things smooth.
Right.
But
And
it
fast.
was, yeah. And I think most of the drifting issues that I had was steering wheel related, and hand positioning related, because I got the sensation of the feel, that was awesome. And yeah, so that was good, but Bill probably did fine. The difference
fine.
is the difference is, and I actually told this to the group, especially when Bill was having some difficulty out there because he kind of came in, he goes, that just sucked. Is that
That was
between
'cause you
Bill and I?
destroyed the wheel
No.
tire. Sorry.
And I was telling this to Karen, his wife there. I said, Bill is a very technical learner. He doesn't really go by sensation. From us, and I think with like women, I think we go by feel.
Mm-hmm.
You and I, at least I know, Bill is very technical. He will go step 1, 2, 3, and he will break down the steps of everything versus the feel of it.
Right.
Humans.
Right. So, and that's when he was having his difficulty out there. I said, he's being really technical right now, and he's not getting the sensation of going around the track. And he was doing pretty good, but when he would come in and go, that really, really sucked. I couldn't, and that was before we even lost the tires. Is that I said he's actively right now trying to break down all the steps at one time.
That's what I do.
In what you do. No,
You
we're
humans
just
do
different.
things.
We just learn differently.
But it sounds like the way I guess the program was run, that they used a lot of different ways to teach you.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So for those of our listeners, can you talk more about the hand positions and I know you're showing me, but can you like tell people what, and if it's
I'm going to let Bill do it because
different-
Bill's a technical explainer.
So
Okay.
so here's what's happening. Vicki is now, since this is her year of learning, she is going to be putting out little short videos, and she will be demonstrating it
Yeah.
Probably
okay,
poorly,
so-
but she will be demonstrating it in a
Yeah.
very short video coming out soon with this program. But
Yeah.
you want to describe this or
No. My thing is that while we're explaining this great program that we're doing, I don't want to give out too much information because this is his program. And I don't want that program to be mimicked somewhere else. So
he's going to come on and talk about it. So it's not
yeah. Yeah, I don't want anybody to rob his format. But it was, when you turn the wheel 3 and 9 is your hand positioning all the time. And he would have you go basically 3 to 9 and keep your hand positionings with the 3 to 9 all the time and kind of move it. Sometimes you might have to, reach, but you're always turning it in half steering wheels consistently.
Right.
But I would overreach, so I would do like 3/4, and then my hands and my thumbs would get all tangled up because I haven't released that part of it. So you're basically you're doing it far reaching, which basically the whole concept is it smooths you out. You know where your wheels are.
Yes, you know where your wheels are. It prevents you from losing track of where your wheels are and where your hands are. A lot of people have the same problem when they have a paddle shifting car and the paddles are on the wheel and not on the steering stalk because they get lost in which one's up and which one's down. So what it does is it's trying to get you to stay in your 3 and 9 always, but how to do, how in driver's ed they'll teach you hand over hand, or sometimes horribly they'll teach you how to shuffle steer. This is a hand over hand that's precise and useful for racing.
But speaking of the steering wheel, this particular car that we were driving had an information unit on it, obviously, and of course the button was on the steering wheel. So so he's on the radio, Johan's on the radio, and I hit the talk button, the question button, basically their Siri. He's asking me a question and the car's like, can you repeat that? I didn't understand what you were saying. so Johan, I'm doing it. I'm like, stop. And then we'll come and Johan would hop on. I hit the button again. They're like, can you please repeat that question? I didn't understand what you were saying. Oh, is this what you want? And the car's talking to me at the same time. And I'm like, jeez. But, later on in the day, I did end up getting in there and I found like a nice radio station and I just cranked it up on the inside. And I was just like, okay, we're going to vibe for this. We're going to vibe. We're going to go with, so, I put on some great pulse music.
You don't want to listen to the tires or anything. No.
I didn't have to because I was going by sensation.
Like she was caught.
I've already destroyed tires for Bill. It'll be fine.
Yeah. So, and I was just like, basically what it was doing was taking me out of my head and overthinking it. And then, okay, we're gonna have a good time here with some music and then work on this. And I think that's when I started doing that. It's when I got about 3/4 of the way around the track,
So at our next race, do I need to sing to you over the radio?
Oh, no.
Yes, Bill. Yes, you do.
No, but you could plug in a radio.
Okay. Yeah. you can dream about that. So
yeah.
Traditional good, bad, and the ugly.
All right. My good, not to mention, is that I do understand drifting. I am really comfortable in the car now. And I walked away with corrective maneuvers. I understand what the pause is. I understand grabbing the car and recovering. I know what that feels like now. Oh, the other thing too, we found out what a tank slapper was. The actual meaning of a tank slapper. It has nothing to do with auto racing. It comes from motorcycle racing. Because he was saying when they start wobbling with the steering wheel, the tank slaps in between their knees. And he goes, that's where they get tank slapper from. That was interesting. And I was like, oh, because they had motorcycle racing going on at the same time, which was really kind of cool. So that was a little
They had
tidbit.
sidecar racing.
Yeah.
As well.
they had sidecar racing.
Oh, I bet you that would have been fun to watch.
It was pretty funny. We were looking over, and it was like one track over from us. We could watch them, what they were doing.
Vicky had a question about that.
Yeah, I forget, what was it?
You were asked if they were real people in the sidecar or dummies.
Feels like there's no difference.
Depends how you look at it.
The answer is yes.
Yes. But anyway, there's some brave people over there doing that, I got to tell you. But it was funny.
So
Yeah,
pretend we're doing the good, the bad, the ugly.
Yeah. So
that's how we started, and then you wandered
Yeah,
away.
I think the good was that I got a lot out of it. I really got a lot out of it.
Short time too.
Yeah. Yeah, like I wanted to go home and on a rainy day on a pair of bum tires to start going out and having a good time with the car because I want to see if I can make it in a circle now. And I did notice that where I did place my eyes is where my car was going. So if I did look as far around the apex as I could, my car was going around that apex. And then if I was looking over the nose of my car and kind of focusing on the outer part of the circle, like on the track and not the apex, then my car was not doing what it was supposed to do. So that was huge. It was like eyes up, look at your apex. But car control, it's like I'm comfortable in knowing what those tires are doing, which was really cool. So I would say my bad.
Was there any bad?
I think I did knock out a sprinkler. I think I did. But
Bill thinks it was the tires.
Yeah.
It was
Well,
two sprinklers.
the tires did shorten our day a little bit. But by that time I was really tired anyway,
I get it.
Yeah. So, but no, I don't think there was no bad, and I don't think there was any ugly. I don't have a bad or an ugly. It was just the way the event, if you're going to run in a circle with two people sequentially, back to back, roughly, in a car for that long, yeah, your tires are going to go. So
what about the sprinklers? You mentioned sprinklers.
yeah, they have sprinklers that are on the inside of the apex that just throw water onto the circle.
Mm-hmm.
And occasionally,
sprinklers.
yeah, and occasionally if you didn't, do something well, you might accidentally run one of those over. But the nice thing was the gentleman he was running around on a golf cart. I guess he was like track manager for most of the event everywhere. That he would come by, he goes, "Oh yeah, these tips. I have a box full of them because he just goes out there and screws another one on,
and replaces them if they get
yeah. So I would say the bad was the rain, but the bad wasn't the rain because
that's probably it was good.
It's what we needed, What
about you, Mr. Bill? What was your good, bad, and ugly?
Well, I mean, the good for me was I got my car control in both directions to be the same. For some reason, I was out of balance, and now I'm the same. And I think the Johan was able to answer a couple questions that I had that were specific to my overthinking brain that helped me get to where I needed to be. And then bad was one of our friends, our new friends. He managed to skid off the track and somehow he got it just right or just wrong, and he was able to plant a piece of shrubbery on the bead of his tire.
Oh yeah,
his tire went down, so we had
that wasn't our bad though.
No, that wasn't our bad, but it was kind of bad. Those are big old 315s.
He punctured his tire.
He didn't puncture his tire. He debeaded his tire with a root from a tree. So that's the same tire he has on there now. It went between the tire and the rim. And debeaded it. So it just, yeah. And then,
we lent him our vehicle to go 4 miles down the road for a quick repair.
Yeah. And they
because that was what he had to drive home.
Yeah.
An hour and a half.
Yeah.
Wow.
So no uglies. Besides my beautiful bride's offer to, take over and finish at 1.6 miles from the hotel. Thanks. Notice she didn't volunteer the next day either, but hey, that's fine.
We did have a good time this weekend together. It was nice.
I believe Miss Vicki was able to get some new kicks on her feet for the weekend.
Yeah, I got some really cool shoes because I went with my my Pumas, and Bill's like, "You need something that's a little lower and not so stiff." So I did end up picking up these really great tennis shoes, but they were Steve Smith. What are they?
But his brother Stan.
Stan Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're white with like Kelly green like edging around the top, and they were kind of cool. So
Mhm.
I like them.
Yep.
Yeah, I got
You
some.
need thinner sole. You had really like thick soled sneakers, and I wanted you to have something thinner so you could feel the
Yeah,
pedals
because
better.
I didn't think to bring out the spring and summer footwear. So normally I would have like a pair of not so much my race shoes, 'cause I don't like to wear my race shoes out there. I didn't think I needed the race shoes for this event, but I usually have like a pair of Vans tennis shoes, which are
Mhm.
nice and thin. But these were nice. These kind of did the job.
Hmm.
Yeah, I have a pair of just regular street shoes that I like to use
Yeah,
for
like
stuff
little.
like that. Just a thinner sole.
Yeah,
You want to feel
yeah.
the
Because
pedals.
if you're all day on your race shoes, that's not comfortable. That really hurts your feet.
Yeah.
You know, they're great for just when you're hopping in the car, but to walk around on them, ugh,
No.
kill your souls. But yeah, so I didn't really have a bad. It took us like 2 days to get down there. Well, a day and a half, basically. We could
Mhm.
have done it in like 10 hours, but we kind of broke the trip up,
You're forgetting the highlight of the weekend
which was,
on the way down. 8
oh yeah,
o'clock.
we stopped. Oh yeah, we stopped and saw Ben Dawson.
Ah,
Yep.
picture,
We had to wait and
Bendel.
we had to wait an hour and a half outside his house because his kids were creating an issue. He goes, now he wants to poop.
Now he
Because
wants to.
yeah, because he was trying to put his kids down for bed, and they kept popping up, and they were kind of doing the wifey thing, and they couldn't go out to dinner with us obviously because they have like these. I don't think he's a toddler, but I think he's just beyond a toddler. And he goes, so he would kind of text. He goes, like, I'm like really sorry, really sorry. I'm like, we've had kids, we've been here. Don't worry about us. We're out here surfing outside, like sitting in the car. And I kind of told him, I said, we've come too far now. I said,
We ain't going home.
I said, I'm like, this is my bucket list. This is a bucket list item. I said, we've come too far. Too far now. I said, we're following this thing whole through. And he goes, he's laughing. He goes, I appreciate it. He texts back like 12 minutes. He goes, now he wants to poop. So he would come back. He goes, I am so sorry. But anyway, we end up spending like an hour, maybe a little over an hour, hour and a half with him, and just sat around and bullshit. Because I can't believe this is really happening. Like to see you. And I'm like, you're a lot taller than I thought you were.
For those of you who don't know, Ben Dawson has been. How long have we known Ben Dawson? He's been doing podcasts.
Oh my gosh,
We've
for like
never
4
met him in
years.
person.
Probably
None
about
of
4
us have
years.
met him in person.
No. We're all great friends,
Right.
but he's a friend through the computer, and it was just nice to kind of like give him a hug and hang out with him, and he's just a nice guy. Ben Dawson is just a guy who just when you're in his general environment, you just feel good.
Right.
He's one of those people. He just has a really good positive vibe about him.
Well, he's tolerated our stupid questions for
I
like 4
know.
or 5 years now. So
Yeah. So he just exudes like an energy and a vibe that just makes the room feel good. So it's always nice to be in his presence. Well, just in general, but to physically be there was really nice. And him and his 2 dogs, yeah, they were just like two kind of they were mutt kind of dogs, but I think they were kind of along the line like a border collie, like, and a mix of something else. I don't know, but they were just the sweetest dogs. So we hung out in his garage, messed with his car that needs to get done, and just catching up with him.
I think the first thing he has to do to get that car moving is get that pink pony out of it.
Yeah, and put water in it because it says no water on the side. Of course, the whole car is like gutted, and he's like, it just says no water on the side. I'm like, I think it needs more than water, but we'll start there.
I mean, maybe it'll grow if you water it. I don't know.
Yeah,
you never know.
But it was really pleasant. It was really pleasant to see him. It was really nice. Really glad we got a chance to do that. Yeah, so that was one of our highlights for the trip. That was the good. That was the really good, I would have to say. It's like, you
Now we
know,
just got to get everybody together on track and race together.
yeah, I know.
Yes.
I know. It's going to be a busy season. It's going to be a busy year, busy season. I'm pretty excited
Mhm.
to
And
do some stuff.
any aha moments, my dear?
Yeah, the feeling the lift in the car and
The lift.
the lift in the car when the sensation of what it feels, the lightness of the car, but when you start to skid, when you start that, I was starting to kind of do the acceleration at the same time, and that was a little tricky to try to maintain an acceleration speed with the steering wheel. Yeah, so that was tricky,
That's just practice, though. You know what to feel.
right? But catching the car and understanding the pause and was probably my big aha. It's like I can go out on the track now, and when I feel like I'm losing the car, I feel like I can do that easily and correct it.
Mhm.
Like getting that sensation of what a slide feels like going around the turn, that
Mhm.
that was huge.
Should Jen go?
Absolutely.
Ooh,
I
love to
think
go.
absolutely Jennifer should go back. 'Cause I think Jennifer,
I'd
in
probably get
Jennifer,
more out of it this time.
well, yeah, but I think with Jennifer, I know for sure that this is one of Jennifer's hangups too. Absolutely. The same thing that I'm going through, only because she actually experienced more during our racing as a result of not knowing these things. That if she actually experienced what a crash feels like and then trying to progress after that, then, and I'm only thinking about it, then I know that Jennifer can get so much out of this, confidence wise.
Sounds like my two ladies may be taking a ride down to work on Ben's car during the week and do some driving after.
Jennifer can play with his dogs. I'll help out.
There's stuff on that car she could do.
Yeah.
Ben, I'm sending the Salvation team down.
Yeah, I think Jennifer should have, in Jennifer's learning, besides just track maneuvering, I think she should spend more time on skid pads for sure.
I wish there was
Car
more
control.
Of them. I wish there was more of them.
I know. But I mean, if we can get her back out to Lime Rock.
I know. It's just Lime Rock's
Why
not.
can't we make one, Mr. Bill?
I don't have any large pieces of pavement that the Mr. Policeman won't come and say, "What are you doing there?"
I know.
So if I had a bigger parking lot at work or something, maybe.
That's one thing that I just was watching somebody online say, and I don't remember if it was a TikTok or if it was a YouTube, but they were just saying, listen, don't chase kids out of, vacant spaces when they're trying to, drift in turns. I said, that's car control. That's them learning how to maneuver a car.
It's when they're in the middle of an intersection and it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, or
right, or in a
morning.
parking lot that has the light stands there, that you don't want. But if they're just out like in this random space, it's vacated, it's them learning how to control a vehicle. It's good. Yeah, but Jennifer, I think that of all your learning, I think that would probably give you bang for your buck.
Yeah.
How'd you do on your goal?
I think I reached my goal.
Okay.
I mean, I'm definitely going to need seat time. My goal was car control, to get comfortable, and mostly in car recovery. Again, the hang up is for me going and racing at the end of a straightaway and going, as fast as I can, coming down to a slow and making those turns and still have confidence in those tires, and knowing what that sensation feels like at max. And now it's like I kind of, at least in that car, I kind of felt it. Right now, it's just going to be seat time.
I think you have to work on your hands.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely on the hands. I was telling Bill, I said, I should just, when I'm driving at the airport, just practicing those hand maneuvers, because you're not going fast. You're probably going about 5 miles an hour, if that. You're practically coasting, and you're just working on hand maneuvers. hand rotation. That would probably be a very good practice just to do through the airport area that we have our hangar at.
We'll
But
show
yeah, that
Jen
would
when
be
we
good.
do livery day or week.
Yeah,
or
Jen,
whatever.
livery day's coming.
It is spring vacation.
Hmm Mia has off on that Monday, but I think you have off all week. I think we're going to go down later on this afternoon and try to fix this clutch piece.
It's not broken. It just can't be bled.
I'm hoping that's what it is. But
It's
we
it's,
found we
it's the
found a
third
woman
one we've put
online.
in. They're not
I
all
know.
broken.
I know, but that's what I'm wondering is it something with the pedal? Also, we have to check up all up underneath there too. But we found this woman online, and I'm
did that.
sure that there's other techniques too, and it was ingenious. It was genius that she actually just removed the whole slave right off the car, took it over to the bench, and did a bench bleed on it, and then just put it right back in the car, already bled, and hooked it right up to the clutch. And I'm just like,
Well,
that just
may
makes
be-
so much sense. Makes so much sense.
Uh-huh.
You know, after all this headache that we're doing with it on the car, let's just do it. Yeah, so I think we're going to go down and we're going to make an attempt at that. If not today, we're going to go down and just prep the garage. And I told Bill, I said, if he preps the garage and gets the rest of the hardware off the roof, then we can get the rest of the livery off the old livery off the roof, and we can start. What is it?
Theming.
Yeah, but we have to actually get the glue off, degunk the car of all its old glue adhesive. So we're going to have to do some car prep, get some Goo Gone out, some scrapers, and give it a good wash. But we have to do car prep stuff for theming.
It's going to be so much fun. I love
It is,
cartoons.
and you know what? Because it's going to be one color, it's going to be fast.
Yeah.
Details.
All right, so no details.
No details.
But anyway, it'll be. We have to get our laser printer going. That's going to be another thing. We have to find the hardware.
Or the vinyl cutter.
That's what I mean, the vinyl cutter.
I know.
Yeah, so we're going to have to get the vinyl cutter put back together again. It got moved to the house, and we have to find the cords and stuff that goes with it. So to move it out.
No problem. Piece of cake.
Mhm.
So what's our next driving endeavor, my dears?
Pit, yeah, we're getting ready for Pit. From now on out is going to be that.
Sounds like a plan.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Sounds
Really?
like
I'm
a
so
plan.
excited.
Yeah.
I can tell you're still awake at the end of a podcast.
Jennifer looks like she's ready to roll
Right.
over and take a nap.
There's that.
Shut your mouth. Ready to go eat lunch.
Yeah,
There we
we're
go.
recording this on a Sunday.
After barely afternoon.
Yeah.
Early afternoon. I've only
That's
had
right.
2 cups of coffee.
No worries. All right, ladies, we had a good time.
It was a good time.
You were missed, my dear.
I am really intrigued, and yeah,
Jennifer, are you looking forward to this season coming up?
I am so looking forward to this season coming up.
Are you looking forward to training this year?
Yes, ma'am.
Very
You
well.
and I hitting the road?
Yep.
Right.
I'm ready.
Indeed. There is a upcoming Great Lakes events. There's 2 of them at Mid Ohio back to back. You just got to make sure your schedules fit. On the road, get the hell out of here.
Mm-hmm. We got to get our trailer back from Alan. No, or unless we take just the big enclosed trailer, which probably wouldn't be a bad idea.
Well, we need the trailer back because we just lent it out to somebody else. So
Yeah. But we'll probably end up taking the enclosed trailer because it will give us shelter if it rains.
we still lent it to somebody else 2 weeks from now.
Enclosed?
Open.
All right. I meant enclosed trailer.
Okay.
Take an enclosed one.
All right. Very well.
Yeah,
You happy you went, my dear?
I am.
Is
I
Christmas
am.
finally
I am.
over in March?
Yes,
Okay.
I am. When I do get back behind the wheel, I am not driving for Pitt. I am going to be a support crew for Pitt. Jennifer's going to be driving though. Woohoo! Yep.
Taking no prisoners.
Nope. I am going to be yucking it up. I am going to be support crew. I'm going to be crew and chew and in paddock mechanic with other mechanics as support.
Indeed.
Yep.
All right. So if we didn't cover this topic, or there was a question about it, or we left a detail out or didn't cover it quite well enough, let us know. GarageHeroesandTraining@gmail.com.
Yes, I would definitely recommend Johan Schwartz, johanschwartz.com, and his car clinic. It is bang for your buck. You get a lot out of it for your racing. Absolutely.
So
10
we
for
talk-
10.
we talked to Ross about what you needed, where you were in your driving. Did he do a good job? Can I send him an email and say you're
Yeah,
the
oh
man?
yeah. Oh
Okay.
yeah. Oh yeah. I have way more confidence to get behind the wheel.
Mhm.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, we can teach you some of it, Miss Jen, but we're probably going to need to get you down there with Johan.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know it's tough. You got to go
Do
drive
that.
again. You gotta
Oh
go drive
geez.
again.
Oh my, it's going to be awful for Jennifer just to
Terrible,
hit the
terrible.
road, go spend time with her sister.
I know.
Terrible.
Well, you just have to pull through. Be strong. Have something good to eat. You need to keep your strength up. All right.
I
Thank you,
think this is
guys.
going to be a good year.
It'll be a good year.
That's a podcast. Bye.
Bye.